Media evaluation question 1. How conventional were your 3 products? The first part of my cross-media package I created was my poster. Before doing this, I created a flat plan in order to decide the overall layout of my poster. I chose to use a conventional layout by having my main image centered with a film's title, billing block, and release date below it. I chose this conventional layout to not confuse my target market about what it is. The layout is also an effective layout as it allows the main focus to be on the title and image, which are arguably the 2 most important elements. The typography I used for my film's title is also conventional of the supernatural horror genre. I used a basic serif font similar to films like The Conjuring and The Exorcist. I chose to do this because, as it is conventional, people have more of an idea of what genre my film is just by looking at the title. I also chose this font as it is easy to read, so it will allow people to read my film's title easily, thus meaning it will stand out alongside other movie posters. The framing and pose of my character on the poster of my film is also conventional. I learned this during my texture analysis due to the Insidious poster and when looking online to find more inspirations for my poster. The pose of the character is a close-up of their face and the image is centered. The character is the film's antagonist, which is also conventional of the horror genre in general. I followed these conventions as due to the image being a girl with blood on her face, the image is shocking to the audience, and by having it be the main focus of my poster, it is clear what genre my film is. I chose to challenge the conventions for horror posters by including some reviews at the top of my poster. I chose to do this because when I was researching horror posters, most were American films with higher budgets than mine, with marketable stars. As my film has neither of these, I chose to include some critic reviews in order to show people that I'm advertising a good solid film even though it has a small budget. When creating my magazine, similarly to the poster, I first created a flat plan in order to get an overall layout. I chose a Fangoria layout as I felt this was a very good and popular horror magazine. I chose a conventional layout by having my masthead at the very top of my page. I chose this as this is a very, very strong convention and my magazine wouldn't really be a magazine without following this. I also chose to follow the convention of having my barcode in the bottom left corner, as this means it is out of the way of my main image and is not distracting from anything else on my cover. I also chose to anchor the title conventionally below my main image for a similar reason to my barcode, as this means that the main cover line doesn't get in the way of the image and is also easier to read as it is not in front of a bright image. The image I used develops conventions, as although it is typical to have your protagonist on either your magazine or your poster, I chose to have my antagonist with a prop, which is the torch, as I felt like it may give some narrative enigma away. As I was following a Fangoria type layout, I also chose to follow their convention of having other images on the left inside of a film reel. I did this in the form of other posters for films to try and attract a wider audience. I also have a boost in the top left corner, which is conventional for a lot of magazines, not just horror magazines. I did this as the free posters inside may add another incentive to buy my product. Finally, I created my trailer. I first created a storyboard to visualise what my trailer would look like. Similar to my poster and my magazine, I also did a texture analysis of 2 trailers in order to see what other trailers included. When researching trailers, I often found that production logos would come at the very beginning or near the beginning of the trailer. I conformed to this convention as it meant the production logos didn't break the pace of my trailer. I also found that the film's title, release date and billing block will often come at the end of a trailer or towards the end. I also conformed to this convention for the same reason as the production logo placement. I did, however, find that a scary scene with a jump scare would play after the title and building block. I chose to follow this as well, as I felt it would make my trailer more memorable. The scare is also more effective here, as it is unexpected in comparison to some of my other scares. Another convention I found that was spikes in sound are often used during tense moments in order to make the audience jump. I chose to use this convention in my trailer because it's a strong convention of supernatural horror films and is an easy way to scare the audience. This technique can be seen at the end of my trailer, where a loud noise plays when the girl is seen behind the door. I also noted that trailers conventionally follow Todorov's narrative structure by having their equilibrium at the beginning of the trailer. I chose to challenge this convention by having my trailer start at a disequilibrium in the form of a nightmare. I did this because it instantly connotes my horror genre, but it also gives the audience an idea of the tone of my narrative. It also starts with a very fast-paced scene, which will instantly attract audiences, make them want to continue watching. I also developed typical narrative conventions of supernatural horror. Usually, a girl will be used as a protagonist in supernatural horror films, as they can often be seen as weaker. However, I chose to have a male protagonist, as I felt this would make it more interesting and more unpredictable as a film. In terms of cinematography, my trailer is relatively conventional. I noted during my secondary research on trailers that certain shots seem to be very conventional of the supernatural genre. A close-up of a character's reaction and a high-angle shot seem to be two of the most frequent shots used. I used both of these shots in my trailer, as they both show a character's reaction to something supernatural without having any heavy special effects, which my budget wouldn't have allowed for. Canted angles also seem to be popular in horror trailers, so I also attempted to use one of these in my trailer, as I felt they make the audience feel uncomfortable, which is important in my genre.